Evening, everyone. Welcome to my live stream on peptides, collagen, protein and creatine. So if you've got any questions on all of those, if you can leave them in the chat. Sorry that I'm running a little bit late and I haven't done the normal sort of intro few seconds. I'm just still setting up. I've had rather a busy day. So I'll just wait for YouTube to do the notifications and let everybody know that I'm online. Just checking my phone to check it's linked on. Fortunately, I've had to go and get a new phone today because my daughter's phone's broke. Okay. Nice to see people getting on. Hello, Cal. And Elkita from Canada. Hi, Tanya. Right, I'm not quite sure getting my I have to just double check on here so that I can have a look at excellent. So I've got 3 here already, so that's brilliant. Okay, just while we start, while you think of any questions that you want to add in the chat, I will just do my usual disclaimers. So here we go with the disclaimers. So everything I'm talking about is just for educational and entertainment purposes only. So contact your own healthcare professional for any individual advice. And although I'm trying my best to keep up to date with the evidence base that's out there, it is always continually updating. Also, I am from the UK, so a lot of the products that I know about are the UK-based ones rather than the international ones. Although I am actually going to be talking about a couple of US products today. And then I will just run my banner so that you can do all the YouTubey things of like, comment and subscribe. Excellent. We'll get back to the comments. Okay, so okay, I think I've missed something in the conversation. Okay, so okay, just walked in the door. All right, the meows are asleep, but 2 out of 3 are with you for the stream. Well, the kittens are extremely intrigued by what's going on. So I have one here. This is Poppy. She's the most adventurous one. She's the one that keeps trying to get out the front door and the back door. And although she has been vaccinated, she hasn't been spayed yet. So she's not allowed to go out investigating too far. Are you? No, you're not. Yes. Okay. That's one. And the other one's climbing around behind here. So this is Periwinkle, shortened to Perry. You don't say hello? No, you're totally confused as well, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, you're not quite sure what to look at. You're like, you normally don't let me jump on that. Yes, I don't. Okay. Yeah. So I've got the 2 kittens. Very confused on why I'm sat in the kitchen because I don't normally sit in here. The 2 big cats are around. So Nobby is quite happy and lets the kittens rub up next to him, sleep next to him and everything. But Minnow is now upset that she is no longer the centre of attention and the kitten anymore. So she's a bit grumpy with them. So so that's right. So Tanya, Nelkita and Cal, you all send links of each other's streams they're hanging. So you can follow each other around. Okay, that was the kitten pulling the wire off the wall. At least I'm still plugged in. Hi, Marie. Great to have you here as well. Yes, 2 kittens. So the May, June, July, September. Yeah, so they're 4 months old now. So hello again, Perry. Come on. Yeah, so this is a tattoo of Petal, who she died a couple of years ago. She was 16. Yeah, so she was rescued from my friend when she was dumped in her village, but she had big, large pointer dogs, so she couldn't actually take her in. So I took her in. I took her to the office for the afternoon. She had a run around the office, and then I fetched her back. And yes, I had her for 16 years. She ended up getting hypothyroidism and then an oral cancer. But she did well. She really enjoyed her long 16 years. And then I got Nobby, who's 10-year-old, is a big black cat, and he was rescued off the steelworks after being dumped on the steelworks. Then I've got Minnow, who's 4-year-old, who was I got from the Cats Protection. And then these 2 kittens I got when my cousin took in a stray who happened to be pregnant, and she's kept 2 of them. And yeah, I took 2. Yeah, I've got a few tattoos, and I've just had another one of a peacock on my leg. So I ought to actually, I can put some on my, I could put some photos on my community tab. No, I don't even think I've shared on Instagram. I can always share it on Instagram as well. So I do have the Eloise Pharmacist account on Instagram, where I do share when I'm going live streaming and asking for questions. And quite a lot of the people that I'm going to talk about, where I get my evidence from and such like, I share them on Instagram. So, oh yes, got to love a little stitch. Yeah, and toothless, that's because my Nobby cat looks like toothless, and Tinkerbell's for my daughter. So yeah, so all the tattoos that I've got have got meanings. So right, let's move on to the main. Oh, I'm just thinking. Let's move on to the main subject. So I put out whether to do peptides and proteins, or collagen and creatine, and they both got equal amounts of votes on the poll. So I thought I'll do them all together because they are all related. They are all to do with, the building blocks of our bodies, protein, collagen, the peptides that make it up, and then creatine is involved in creating muscle, which obviously you need your protein and peptides as well as creatine for making your muscles. No, it's not from Terry Pratchett, although I do love Terry Pratchett. No, it's Nobby is short for it's the nickname of the people that work on the steelworks who work near the niobium bunkers. So that's where it's short. So it's short for niobium, and is the nickname that's given to people that work on certain parts of the steelworks. And he was found in a niobium bunker. So that's where he actually gets his name from, is from the steelworks. But yes, I love Terry Pratchett as well. So I don't mind a double meaning. Right. So the reason why I decided to do these is there's been quite a lot going around about peptides. As you're probably aware, the GLP-1 medicines that are used for diabetes and for weight loss, they are actually peptides, and they're what's known as injectable peptides. Collagen is made up of what they call hydrolyzed peptides. Obviously, collagen is a type of protein, and then you have all your protein supplements, and then you also have all the creatine supplements, saying that they will help with muscle growth. So you've got lots of different things and claims going around peptides and collagens, and there's also quite a few of the new MLM companies are jumping on the peptides bandwagon and saying that they have peptides that are similar to the GLP-1 peptides, but that they can be taken orally, and they're making quite quite unrealistic claims on their new products, which I don't think they've got the science behind. From what they've said, they've not actually got any evidence behind their claims, but there is some evidence around peptides can be useful, collagen can be useful, protein supplements can be useful, and the same with creatine, but it's all dependent on what you're needing them for, what your baseline nutrition is, and how you actually use them. And I wouldn't say that an expensive supplement, MLM supplement company is the way to go. So the two, there's two main YouTube anti-MLM creators that have been doing some work about this new Make Wellness company that's been saying about peptides, and they are Julie Anderson and Erin Bies. I don't know if any of the people that are on this call actually have watched any of their products, any of their videos. I'm going to try and see if I can get this to play. I'm going to try and see if I can get Julie Anderson's to play. I can't play much Julie Anderson's because I'm trying to keep my YouTube quite PC. And although I love watching Julie Anderson, her language isn't always as PC as it could be. But I enjoy it, and she says it as it is. And yes, she is dropping the F-bomb quite a bit, but she's quite justified on when she is. So let me see if I can share screen. Which ones? Julie Anderson's has watched this before. Right, so let's see if I can share. You'll have to let me know. You'll have to let me know whether the volume actually comes through. But I'm just going to share a couple of seconds of it. This is Julie Anderson talking about one of their Zoom calls where they're talking about the peptides.
Put in there. Here we go. Peptides, especially plant-based peptides, the bioactive component to it allows them to kind of go through the digestive system because they're much more sustainable. But I think the main answer to this is we have a few different deliveries, right? And there's a few different functionalities to the peptides themselves. So like we have our lean, right? That's going to be in a capsule. The lean is supposed to target, healthy metabolism. There's a GLP-1 inhibitor factor to it. So that you want that once you get into the lower digestive.
This is the face of.
Yeah. So as you can see, the craziness of some of these claims that people are saying about the peptides. Now, I've got what Julie has said. Go and watch her channel. Her channel is amazing. She does a lot of debunking. A lot of this video is a lot about the fact that they're in startup. So they're in the startup part of the MLM, and people are ranking up and haven't even sold any products yet because the products aren't actually available again. Right, yeah. So Marie says in Sweden, creatine is an old-time insult. Okay. Is that a bit like a cretin? Is that sort of insult? Okay, but yes, I will make sure I specify creatine as in the molecule and supplement, and hopefully nobody ever takes any insult from it, because I'm not for insulting people. Tanya says, Jacqueline Shill's husband has a pic of him holding a bottle of the olive tree, people. Okay, yeah, and olive tree is another MLM that I can't get behind. Yes, olive oil probably does work really well on your skin. It's a really good occlusive oil that is going to really help your skin barrier and help keep moisture in your skin. But I wouldn't buy an overpriced product of olive oil to do that. I would just do your normal skincare, and then if you fancy slugging with some olive oil, just get some out your kitchen cupboard. No need to buy an overpriced product. I'm glad that the sound was good, but you get the general gist from hello, mum and dad. Well, if you're a historian, you'll have things in common with my mum. My mum likes her history class and going into the history. I'm getting more into my history than I used to be. I didn't like history back at school, but I do like to know the historical, the historical circumstances around things now. I'm going to move on to Erin's video. She's debunking a bit more of the peptides claims, and I would say follow Erin. She is actually on point. She doesn't claim to have any medical training, and she's very open and honest on where her limitations are, but she actually got everything on point in her video about what peptides and proteins are. And I think that's because of her training to be a personal trainer. She's actually getting to know about protein and creatine and such like. So I'll just share screen.
I mean, we are literally on the cusp of what we're about to start discovering about bioactive precision peptides.
What? We are on the cusp of discovering. I can't even say what he just said. So here you are representing a company that allegedly has these peptides in their product, but nobody's tried the product to make wellness. And then you're saying, oh, but we're on the cusp of discovering what they do. I mean, like, just gonna talk in circles. Okay, got it.
You know, we were starting off with 6 products. 4 of those 6 products have the bioactive precision peptides in them.
How much? How much of the bioactive peptides are in it? Huh? But you don't know because it's probably a proprietary blend. Wild, because if they were actually studied, there would be a specific amount, there would be a protocol that people followed in an actual legitimate study. Cool.
And of course, we've already discussed at least, I don't know how many other products that we are already discussing with additional bioactive peptides. And I know we have meetings coming up with other opportunities regarding those. And so it literally is just the beginning. We are just now getting on this. You know, and the thing about it is bioactive peptides have been around forever in our foods.
Yep.
We just didn't know how to unlock those bioactive peptides and open up the potential of those.
I love it. She gets to the end. I love Erin's face. Erin's face is great. She's not very good at a poker face. Her facial expressions are amazing. But yeah, peptides have been around for years in food. And I think that's the main stay away from all of these products. And they're saying about they're on the cusp of discovering these peptides, but then they're selling these peptides, even though they've had no background and data on these peptides. Now, there is some background and data on certain peptides, and when they are found to actually be bioactive and actually producing a reaction and an effect in the body, unfortunately, Big Pharma does get hold of them, and they are being used by Big Pharma, such as the GLP-1s. Yeah, if you've not received any results yet, back to lab testing, please. Exactly. So they're selling these products that they really don't have any data on. They always put them in what they call a proprietary blend, which means if they put proprietary blend, then they don't actually have to release the quantities of the ingredients that are in the product. Well, when it comes to actually having any product, any supplement or medicinal product that actually has an effect on the body, you really do need to know the quantities. You really do need to know the quantity of what you're taking, exactly what you're taking, in case you've got any allergies, any side effects, if you're taking any other products alongside it. You need to know exactly what's in it and what quantities you're actually taking, because otherwise there's really no point to it. So I'm going to go right back to basics on just explaining the background of what are proteins, what are peptides. So you've probably always heard proteins are made up of amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of life. So all protein in your body is made up from amino acids. Now, amino acids are small carbon-based molecules, a bit like sugar molecules, but they're a bit more complex. And there's about 20 different amino acids, and I think there's about 12 of them that are the essential amino acids. And the essential amino acids are the ones that our body can't make on its own, and we have to get from our food. And you need to get those essential amino acids to be the building blocks to make up everything in your body. Most people realize that protein makes up your muscles, but what a lot of people don't realize is that actually protein makes up pretty much everything. There's a lot of hormones and neurotransmitters that go around your body that are actually made up of amino acids and are actually proteins. So insulin is actually a protein that's made up of amino acids. And as you were hearing there, the GLP-1, so the GLP pathway of hormones, that's actually made up of amino acids and is a hormone that goes around your body. So a lot of the hormones going around your body are proteins that float around, but then you have some longer, bigger proteins that actually start making up the actual structure of your body. Now, the main ones that make up muscles, you've got your protein that makes up muscles. And then you've also got protein that actually makes up the ligaments and the tendons and the sort of matrix around all of the cells in your body, as well as into your skin, hair, nails, everywhere is this matrix of proteins that all interlink and join together. So I think collagen is... I want to say it's about a 300 chain amino acid, one section of collagen, and then you've got layers and layers of them that make up your skin. So I'm trying to work out which one I've got. Yeah, what I've got as my things. So is that my collagen one? Okay, yeah. So collagen does make up your skin. And so we've had it for probably the last 5 years or so, where people have been touting collagen supplements for helping your hair, skin and nails. And yes, collagen is the protein that makes up your hair, skin and nails. But you can't actually eat collagen. You can't actually eat, well, basically, you can't actually eat the collagen that's in skin and expect it to then make skin on your body. Because of the way that protein works, as you eat any sort of protein from any animal source or vegetarian source, your body needs to break it down into the amino acids for it to be absorbed. Then the amino acids of the proteins float around your body, and then your body decides where those amino acids and where it's going to rebuild that protein. Now, what they do with what they call hydrolyzed collagen, peptides. So peptides is when you've got a chain of amino acids, usually anywhere up to about 20 amino acids long. and they're just like a section of a protein. So they're not a full protein, they're just a section of a protein. And the hydrolyzed collagen, so the hydrolyzed means that it's the ends of the molecules have been hydrolyzed with an OH molecule so that they can actually dissolve in water and move around your body, dissolved to where they need to go and then to be reattached. Now, just because you take some collagen in, and there's usually 3 types, you've got your bovine collagen, which comes from cows and comes from the boiling all the other bits of the cow that you haven't actually taken the meat off. So the skin, the bones, the bone marrow, the hooves, everything that you would. So what your bone broth as it would be. And that's another trend that's gone around about drinking bone broth. And I do think that there is this thing that, decades ago, people wouldn't waste anything of an animal. Nowadays, we've got super easily processed food. We buy our lump of meat, and that's what we eat. Historically, that's not what we did. We actually made sure that we used every single part of an animal. We didn't actually have waste. We didn't throw bits out, and we actually used these parts that actually had the bone broth and the collagen and actually had that in our diet. And I think that can be why some people maybe not getting the full rounded nutrition that we used to get, because we used to actually make sure that we used everything of our plants, everything of our animals. And nowadays we just have the select bits that we like and then have our processed food alongside that. So where did I get to? So yeah, you've got your bovine collagen, which comes from sheep. You've then got your fish collagen that comes from the bones and fish skin. So the marine collagen. And that can be very good. You've also got the chicken collagen, which comes from obviously, again, with the chicken. And I know my mum used to do this I'd say the day after Boxing Day, because Boxing Day was the thing. We would have the chicken that was left over, the bones, and we would actually boil the meat that was left on the bones, and then actually have that chicken to make the chicken stock to actually make the basis of the soup. And that would have all of that collagen coming out of it and into the liquid, plus all the other nutrients and everything that's still in there that you've not been able to get out. And then we used to have chicken soup, which my mum used to always put chickpeas in, and I don't like chickpeas, but it was still nice to have a nice chicken soup. So the chicken, and then they have what they call the vegetarian or the vegan collagen. Now, there is no such thing as vegetarian or vegan collagen. Collagen is not something that is in plants. Plants do have a fibrous structure, which is their, the fiber that holds their cell walls together, but they don't actually have a collagen structure like in animals. So when you have vegetarian or vegan collagen, what they've just got is a mix of amino acids that are in the same quantities as the same amino acids that are in the animal collagen, in the hopes that your body will then make it back to being the same collagen that you could. So it's basically just taking it down to the building blocks of how many of each of the amino acids, puts them together from animal sources for you to get. So the vegan vegetarian collagen isn't really anything related to collagen at all, because it is literally just broken down into sort of just short peptides and amino acids that are similar to collagen. Whereas in the bovine, the chicken and the fish, you have actually got animal collagen that is being broken down, and then it's called hydrolyzed collagen peptides, because what they've done, instead of these being 100 chain amino acids, which your body wouldn't be able to absorb, there's no way that a structure of 100 amino acids can actually transport through the lining of your stomach. They need to be broken down into short chains of sort of 4 or 5, maybe up to 10 amino acids in a chain, and that can be small enough for your body to actually be able to transport through the cell walls into your bloodstream to go around. So you have these broken down bits of the collagen that you thing, but then it's up to your body to decide where it's going to put this collagen. Now, there is 5 or 6 different types of collagen, depending on where it is in your body, because obviously the ligaments in your joints is a slightly different texture to that of your skin, to that of your tendons. There's anybody who was actually, you know, being a omnivore or carnivore and actually done any cooking of meat, you can tell that the way it's built is slightly different in all of them. Exactly, Marie. You're eating a Lego set that can then break up, and then the body decides what to build up with the blocks. Exactly. So you can take as much as you want of your bovine collagen, your chicken collagen, and your fish collagen, and it's totally up to your body on whether it decides that it's going to put it in your skin. So you can't say that you're going to take that collagen and it's going to get rid of your wrinkles. It's going to make the collagen in your skin look any better, because it'll decide where it wants to go. And in the first instance, if you're eating in a calorie deficit, it may not even go to building up anything, because if you're eating in a calorie deficit and you don't actually have enough carbs in your body to be actually burning to give you the basic energy for just being able to live for that day, your basal metabolic rate, then your body's going to move on to any fats and proteins in your diet and just break them down and change them automatically over to glucose, which it can do. Now, your body's very good. It can break down fats and go through the process of ketogenesis and be able to get energy from it. Your body can break down amino acids, break down the extra bits off it, to take off the nitrogen and that, and to make glucose and to actually use that to actually burn as energy. What your body can't do is change carbs and glucose into proteins and use that. You need amino acids and protein to build protein. There is no going back once you've broken a protein up into using it for fuel, for energy. So yeah, so if you're in a severe calorie deficit, it doesn't matter how much protein that you're getting in your diet, how much collagen you're getting in your diet, your body's going to use it to actually be your basal energy for the day. So you'd actually need to be making sure that you do have sufficient calories in your diet, so that any protein and collagen that you're having in your diet gets actually used. But then your body will decide where it's going. So if you've actually got an injury, your body is going to prioritize that injury and looking after that. And your body is probably going to be putting skin last. So it's probably going to be looking more at sort of tendons and cartilage and such like to put the collagen to build back up. So they do seem to think that the chicken collagen, there's some slight more evidence that the chicken collagen is better for tendons and cartilage. It's closest to that. So it's the type 3 collagen, whereas the bovine and the fish is more like the skin. So it's more likely to get put into your skin. So there has been some good evidence that if you are eating correctly and you supplement with collagen in your diet and your skin is lacking in hydration and elasticity, then taking a collagen supplement regularly over quite a few weeks, and it does take a good 6 to 8 weeks, then it can improve the elasticity and hydration of your skin. I'll just see if I can get up that study. Share screen. So there's quite a few new studies. Now, when I originally talked about collagen a year ago, I said that there wasn't particularly that much evidence out there, but there has been since then. So this was back in May 23. There has been quite a few other meta-analyses and reviews, and they do seem to show, I really need to be changing this to being a better size. Do that. That's better. You should be able to see that. So they have looked at lots of different controlled trials of hydrolyzed collagen for hydration and elasticity. So they do seem to think that there's no significant differences between the different sources. But they did say that quite often there is several biases in the randomized control trials, and that's the problem that we have. The majority of trials that are ever done and ever get released are always done by companies that have got products. And the companies that don't do products, they will do these randomized control trials. Now, there's always a whole load of trials that never ever get published because they've got negative results. And that's a whole load of confirmational bias that we need to sort of get over. We don't see those negative results. We never see the trials with negative results because those companies are never going to release them. Now, when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, they are now, there is now more sort of strict guidelines and such like that. They actually have to put out any negative results to publish. But when it comes to supplement companies, that's just never going to happen. The company's just never going to release them. They're never actually going to show them. So that is something to always bear in mind when you see that, yes, there may be positive trials, but what we hardly ever see is the negative trials. So I'm just going to go back to the comments. Yeah, so if you've got a chronic, so Nell Keita says, if you've got a chronic condition like arthritis, would collagen just go there forever? Potentially, it's up to your body and what your body decides to do. It's totally up to your body. We don't actually understand the inner workings. It may decide to go there. It may not. If you've got inflammation in your skin, it may decide to go there, or it may just use it for building other parts of your body, or just use it up for energy. Now, I've talked about this before. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder along the lines of also the Marfan syndrome and such like. And for us, the way that our collagen is made up, the actual instructions for our collagen is not quite right. And if you think of Lego blocks or building blocks, collagen should be in a brick-like structure, sort of where they're interlinked. So you lay one brick and then on the next layer, they're slightly to one side. And that's how sort of the collagen matrix is made up for the majority of people. When it comes to somebody with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, it's more like you're putting the bricks on top of each other. And so you end up, if you've ever built Lego and you just try putting the blocks on top of each other, they don't interlink. They don't hold on to each other, and you can end up with a bit of the wall falling down or stretching. And that's the problem with people with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and Marfan's. Their collagen's too stretchy, too fragile, and that's why they end up with joints that are very hypermobile, and they can get damage in their tendons and such like. So most of my joints have dislocated. My shoulder and my right hip have dislocated that much that I have tendonitis in my shoulder and a labral tear in my right hip. It's just the way it is. It's fragile. So even if I were to take as much collagen as possible, because my body's instruction manual for putting the collagen together, even when it thinks it's repairing it and thinks it's putting it back together, it's putting it back together in that still fragile state. Nell Keats says, Uchi, I'm proud to have never broken a bone. Yes, touch wood. I've never broken a bone. However, because I'm hypermobile, I dislocate at my joints instead, and I stretch and injure my tendons instead. So I don't take it out on my bones. I take it out on my joints. Coconut says, I've been taking the hair, skin and nails every day for about 6 years now. It's helped my nails and hair get a bit stronger and healthier. And it probably will, because you're adding that extra protein to your diet in the collagen that is specifically for your nails and hair. So Tanya says, I've broken both my ankles more than once, and I've actually needed surgery on both tendons because of the repeated strains. Ouch. I have a lot of sympathy. Luckily, my ankles are unsteady, but I remember my uncle broke his ankle and ended up with a plate and everything in there. But we think his ankle had been his ankle had been dislocated for decades because it was never in the correct place. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Right. Coconut says, Eloise, did you see the new study that found that there's a new biomarker for HEDS? Yes, I have. I'm quite excited about it. I want to know who I can send my blood sample to. It's not ready yet for use, but there's huge hope that it would help diagnose HEDS in the future. Yeah. And as soon as I find out who I need to send my blood to get tested, I will do that. I'll be part of any trial that they need. In fact, anybody who's in the UK at the moment that's aged between 18 and 74, I think you can sign up for NHS Futures, which is a whole thing where they're collecting DNA from everybody, taking a whole load of your biomarkers and putting it for future research. So I signed up for that. They've got a unit down in our Tesco's car park, and I've been and I gave my blood and got a lovely bruise, and they took the cholesterol out my finger. Found out my cholesterol's 5.2, but I did my Q-risk 3 score, and my Q-risk 3 score for having a heart attack or stroke in the next 10 years is down about 3%. So even though my cholesterol's high, I don't need to worry, but I'm blaming my mum for my high cholesterol. But if anybody wants to know about cholesterol levels, I have got a standalone video on statins and should I take a statin. Marie says, it's a big step forward that in more and more scientific research, you have to submit what your research is supposed to show. Less cherry pickings of the finds now. Yeah, most definitely. And there is a way of when you are actually doing a meta-analysis, you can do a meta-analysis where you show the larger studies and the smaller studies, and you do a funnel. And the funnel should show that sort of the larger studies are more towards where the accurate point is, and there's a more variation in the smaller studies from natural variation in smaller studies. And if you do a funnel plot and you see that all of the data is at one side of the line, and there's a big gap at the opposite side of the line, and the other small data sets didn't show the negative, then you can work out where the actual gaps in the science are, which is very, very good to look at. I do like my funnel plots and my scatter plots. Coconut says, my pinky knuckle was snapped in half and I had to get 2 titanium screws. Oh, excellent. Put in my knuckle. Then I broke the tip of my middle toe by accidentally kicking the door. Never a big bone, thankfully. Yeah, but toes are so painful. Yeah, because we do actually have more nerve endings in our fingers and our toes because we actually use them as tactile for things. So sometimes you can actually have a lot more nerve endings in your fingers than you actually do in the middle of your big bone, because in the middle of the big bone, you don't need any nerve endings. You don't need those signals back to your brain to tell you that the bone. It's actually where the bone's hitting other tissue that sends the pain signals up. When the bone actually breaks and actually hits nerves. So Nailkeet says, oh, this is just reminding me to check the blood test I had last week. Yeah, always follow up. Although usually if they don't come chasing you, then they're usually just a normal. Although for me, I hate the fact of normal. It's like, I asked you to do a blood test to find something, not just to say that everything's in range. And Carl says, despite being as clumsy as an elephant in a porcelain shop, I've only ever had a microfracture in my wrist from a horse hoof pit. Yeah. Horses are, can be pretty dangerous around a horse. You need to watch what you're doing around them. Yeah, I'm as clumsy as anything. That's another thing to do with the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, is our lack of proprioception, or not knowing where our body is because of the loose ligaments. I don't know if ever you've had one of those toys that's sort of held together with string, and you can press the bottom and the strings go and the little person falls to pieces. That's basically like having Ehlers-Danlos loss, and you're not quite sure where your body is, which is why I've been doing a lot of work for the last year, trying to increase my muscle mass. Tanya says, I've never had a compound fracture, but I'd rather break my wrist than my toes on my fingers. Yeah. Yes, so autism has its coordination issues too. Yes, so along with autism, there is the dyspraxia, which I think they now go by. It goes by another name, developmental something or other. The lack of coordination with autism. It's not called dyspraxia anymore. It's got another name. It's a sort of developmental syndrome or something. But there is also a big link between people who are on the spectrum and autistic with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and they don't quite seem to know why that sort of change in collagen in the body maybe also changes the collagen in the structure of the brain. So there is a big overlap to people that are on the spectrum and having Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And that's why I end up finding myself in so many forums with people who are on the spectrum and having EDS. I seem to sort of attract. Yeah, so a false positive for, so now I'll keep saying false positive for lupus. Okay, well, it'd be good if it was a false positive, because lupus is not a condition that I would wish on anybody. It is horrible, but I hope they find whatever's going on that you can actually get treatment for, because sometimes not having an answer can be worse because you can't get any treatment. Coconut says I'm extremely clumsy. I would say that I trip over in invisible piles of nothing. Yeah. My mum used to always say, if it can be bumped into, fallen off or fallen over, I would do it. And if it wasn't, I'd still do it. I've been known to, like, I was little and I fell off a roundabout, and yeah, my mum's got lots of stories where she can tell me how uncoordinated I am. Yeah, possibly, if you can do things. So one of the hypermobile things I'm trying to get is being able to touch your thumb to your forearm. Also being able to put your pinky full up. Then I can do a weird thing with my thumbs. So I can also do the thing where I can put my hands to pray behind my back. All of those sorts of things. I can also dislocate my toes. If I'm walking in sandals, my toes will dislocate and point up the way, which is really gross for people. Yeah, I hope you can get an explanation for your symptoms. I was more clumsy before I had glasses. Yes, I didn't get my glasses until I was 5-year-old, and and I was struggling to read, and my brother could read before me, and it turns out because everything was all blurry. And yeah, I used to. They asked me to take my glasses off to go running for cross country, and I ran into a lamp post, so my mum hit the roof with the skull. So. Coconut says, I'm on the spectrum and 99.999 sure I've got HEDS, still in the process. Yeah, it can be very, very hard to get a diagnosis. They're also, depending on who you see, whether you'll get the hypermobility spectrum disorders diagnosis or the HEDS, even though they've said that there's basically not much difference between them. They usually go for the HEDS if you can show that you've got other systemic problems going alongside it, such as irritable bowel syndrome, allergies, intolerances, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So where you stand up, your blood pressure falls, you go tachycardic, you struggle with heat intolerance and such like. So if you've got those sort of other things alongside, you're more likely to get the HEDS than the hypermobility spectrum disorder. Yeah, and touch your hands flat to the floor, even when you've done, even though your hamstrings are tight, but you can still lean over and put your hands on the floor. Now, my granny into her 80s was still leaning down to tie her shoelaces and keeping her knees straight, because she is definitely where I got the Ehlers-Danlos part from. Now, my grandpa, he was very tall and thin and marfanoid structured, so we think we've got a bit of both genetics in there. So I'm a lovely mix. Marie says, I was out doing the night as a student some years ago. I fell over outside a pub. The problem we was having hadn't even started drinking yet. Yeah. I don't need any alcohol to be clumsy. I've even got a friend who she's clumsy without alcohol, but you give her a drink and she's much more stable. Right, I'm just going to try and work out where I've got to on things. Go back to that. Right, so I've talked a bit about collagen. So there is some evidence about collagen. Now, there is collagen in skincare. Now, I can easily put that to bed. So collagen in skincare can actually integrate into your skin and actually become part of the matrix of your skin. However, collagen peptides can be used in skincare, and they attract water and work as a really good humectant, pulling water into your skin. And also collagen peptides can go into the top layer of your skin and actually help encourage your skin to create its own collagen and build itself back up again. So whereas putting collagen on the skin doesn't put that collagen into your skin, it can hydrate your skin and improve the plumpness of your skin. And that's where it comes to why we've used peptides for a long time, probably for a good 10 or so years in skincare. There's a lot of peptides being used in skincare. One of the ones is Matrixyl 3000 is used in a lot of skincare. Argireline is another one that's used in skincare, and there's quite a lot of different peptides used in skincare. And because of the amino acids, the short chain of amino acids, go into your skin quite nicely. Your body actually recognizes amino acids as their own and actually can take them in, and they can be used to help transport other ingredients into your skin. So some peptides can be used to help make sure sort of vitamin C and such like gets into your skin, and other products helps the penetration of products into your skin. Helps with being humectant, holding water in your skin, plumping it out. And then things like the Adjureline, and I've got the ordinary Adjureline solution. The Adjureline solution is based on the bit of the protein that is the end point of the botulinum toxin. So we all know about the fact that Botox, the botulinum toxin, can be used to get rid of wrinkles. And the way that the Botox toxin works is that the Botox toxin comes, it's a natural toxin that fits into receptors into the ends of nerves and actually relaxes the muscles, so that the muscles just relax, sort of don't move. So with Botox, right now, with Botox, you end up not being able to get your frown lines or you're lifting you up because of they've just been the nerves have been blocked and they don't work. So Adjureline is the tiny end bit of the botulinum toxin, and they've actually created it into a solution that you can put on topically. Now, it is not Botox in a bottle. It is nowhere near Botox in a bottle. Botox injections is the full protein that actually gets put in the muscle to those nerve endings, totally blocks it, gets rid of all the function. However, this does have a very slight action, probably about sort of 5 to 10% of that action. So it can actually soften and reduce fine lines and wrinkles by a little bit, but it's only sort of like 5 to 10% of the action. Now, I do have The reason I have this is not because of fine lines and wrinkles. And I've talked about this on, yes, it's classed as a paralytic. Yes. So they, I know, go back to, so I use Botox. Botox can be used to treat migraines because a lot of migraines, by paralyzing some of the muscles around your face, can actually get rid of migraines. And now I do have quite bad migraines at points, and I am on 2 medications for that, propranolol and amitriptyline. And I've done a whole migraine special where I go through every single type of treatment for migraine, everything for the acute migraine and everything as a preventative for migraine, which propranolol and amitriptyline are 2, but Botox is a 3rd. So I have occasionally had Botox for migraines, but they actually put them in a different place. They put them actually around, but then I asked for an extra 2 just there. And I had that done on Friday. It's not taken effect yet because it does take about 4 or 5 days to take effect. But there have been studies to be shown that people who actually have Botox injections, either for migraines or for eyelid twitching, if they were to use this adrenaline solution topically every day, it can extend the length of time that's between the Botox injections. So whereas usually you'd need to have the Botox injection somewhere between 3 and 6 monthly, you can extend to having the Botox between 6 and 8 monthly. And that's the reason why I have this alongside, because having paying privately to have Botox for migraines is expensive. This is 10 quid a bottle. And if it can last me an extra 2 or 3 months between my Botox actual injections and keep my migraines at bay for another 2 or 3 months, then I'm quite happy to have this 10 quid a bottle. Right now, Coconut has said that The Ordinary have sold to Estee Lauder. Yes, and Estee Lauder sells into China, and China test on animals. However, none of The Ordinary products are sold in China. So The Ordinary products aren't tested on animals, but it is dependent on your ethics and whether you think that Estee Lauder should have bought over The Ordinary, and if you still want the money to go into that corporate. I now do have another product, which is the Mad About Skin Super Serum, and it does have a giraline in it as well as other peptides. It has the giraline in at the 10%. It also has a vitamin C derivative, coenzyme Q10, and and azelaic acid at 5%. So I use this now. Mad About Skin have just had a rebrand and had a new launch. Now, Mad About Skin's YouTube channel is always in my descriptions of all my videos, because he's the first YouTuber that I really sort of fell in love with, started going on live streams, and really encouraged me to actually start my own channel. So I'm going to go back up because I've missed a whole load of comments. Tanya says she can put her hands flat on the floor. Coconuts can do the prayer arms, touch the thumbs to it, pop hips and shoulders out of socket. Yeah, diagnosed with IBS. Yeah, allergy. Yeah. But your labs, of course, that your labs are great, and that is one of the. I'm pretty sure we should put that down as one of our the things. There is no labs until this new indicator comes out. There is no labs to show that you've got high Ehlers-Danlos loss or hypermobility spectrum disorder. And part of the thing is you've still got pain, you've still got problems, you've still got issues, and your labs are great. Hi Lisa, great that you've got on. We've been talking for an hour. I haven't really got off collagen. So Nell Peter says, I forgot if I asked into migraines once, does that work for optical migraines? I can't answer that without looking it up, unfortunately. I don't know whether Botox is on the list for optical migraines without actually going through and looking and checking the migraine pathway. But if Botox is on for the pathway for optical migraines, then it is worth maybe trying the Adrenaline to just, you do need to use it twice a day, and it only sort of takes 5 to 6. The Wayne Goss, yes, I've watched Wayne Goss, but yeah, Robert Mad About Skin, he's just relaunched all his products. Now he goes, well, when he's done the relaunch, he's really crazy about making sure that the packaging is environmentally friendly, all the bottles that he chooses. So all the bottles that he chooses, they're not the glass bottles are not smooth, because he hasn't acid dipped them, because the acid dipping is one of the worst things that you can do to the environment. And he's tried to reduce the packaging down as much as possible. I'm just going to show his website. He did his, so if you go to his YouTube, he did his premiere last night about all his new branding. All of his products are exactly the same for anybody that's used them before. Just share screen. Mad About Skin. Let me just check that I've got it. I need it nice and big, don't I? I need to do it like that. Right, so but yeah, he's got lots of different products. He's got an SPF, which the SPF, the filters are, as well as being UVB, the UVA is at the top of its list. It's the newer generation filters, so it's not the American ones, although you can import into America with these. They are sort of more the European newer generation filters, and it actually lasts, I think it's 6 hours, but I find I put it on and it lasts all day. But he's actually tested that the SPF is still valid at 6 hours, so it lasts all day. You can put it on in the morning and it lasts all day. The Super Serum, now this is the same as this one I've got here, but this is in the new packaging, which is quite stylish. So yeah, so vitamins D, azelaic acid, coenzyme Q10, peptides. He actually lists everything. So he has got the Adrenaline in there. But this one, I've got a feeling that, this one isn't vegan, because it does actually have a bit of honey in, I think. But yeah, he's got quite a few good products. He also has the antioxidant cream. It's got pycnogenol, ferulic acid, all the other antioxidants that you need. And he's listed all of them on the box on how much, I think. Thought he'd listed all of them, but he has listed them all. So, but yeah, he's got quite a few. And the Ultimate Anti-Aging Oil has retinol in it, which is a stronger version of the retinol. It's 10 times the strong, so you only need it in the 0.1%. So with the retinol. So yeah, he's got an excellent skincare range, and his channel is excellent. He provides really good sound advice. He doesn't take any sponsorships. However, he does review quite a lot of products, and the only one that he does is he doesn't actually take any sponsorships. But when there is a couple of times where he does it where he has an affiliate link, and then any money that he makes from the affiliate link, he then donates to charity. So yeah, well, he's given me a discount on buying his new products, so I'm okay at that. And hopefully I'm getting a hoodie that says Mad About Skin, because I'm one of his OGs. So yeah. Oh, he's such a sweetie. He's been so encouraging to me. So, and all the people on their live streams are so lovely. Like this group is on here. He's been, his live streams are always so lovely. They're usually on a Saturday at 6 o'clock, British summertime. He is from sort of Yorkshire originally, but lives down south now. But yeah, so peptides do exist in skincare. They have done for a long time. There's no, yeah, so they've existed in skincare for a long time. I got a nice link. I'm going to put all of these links in afterwards. Oh, I keep forgetting I need to press the share button. Well, I need to go back to that view, present, share screen, and this is quite a good one. The Cochrane handbook. So the Cochrane is a good resource of medical information. And this one is Cosmetic Dermatology, the Rise of Peptides. And it does talk about all the different peptides, improving skin texture, elasticity, enhancing collagen production. So the peptides can go in there and it makes your body think that it needs to produce more collagen because it's got bits of broken collagen in there. And the term bioactive peptides just means that when the peptides get in the body, they do something. They cause an action to happen in the body. So that can be good, bad, or things. Now, the other thing potential side effects and allergies. Now, because they are proteins, peptides are particles of proteins. Now, the majority of major anaphylactic allergies are all to do with proteins. You are unlikely to get a major anaphylactic reaction to a synthetic molecule. You're much more likely to get it from a protein. It is proteins that actually send your immune system crazy because your immune system is looking for foreign proteins of foreign products to attack. That is what your body is doing. It's attacking viruses, bacteria, foreign particles of protein that are not your body, and it's attacking them. So it is the thing that peptides and proteins from animal or vegetable causes can cause allergies. So stability in formulations, because they're proteins, trying to keep them stable can be difficult. And so you do need to make sure that you keep the products either airtight, maybe at lower temperatures and such like. But this is a really good article to go through of all the different types of peptides in skincare. So, yeah, so peptides in skincare have happened for a long time. And yes, they work. Bits of amino acids and proteins do work. Now the conversation has moved on to having bioactive peptides to treat other conditions. And yes, the GLP-1s inhibitors are peptides. They are a protein because the GLP-1 hormone in your body is a protein, and this is where the action is of the GLP-1 inhibitors and how they work in your body. And obviously they're injectables and they've been shown to cause weight loss, reduce the hunger signals, increase insulin production, modulate how glucagon stores are. And, you know, they've proven to be very beneficial, that much so that they're being sold privately here, there and everywhere. And now we've got stock shortages for people that have got diabetes. And there's even now a new agent, the tirzepatide, I'm trying to remember which way around the consonants are in it. The Monjaro. that's a GLP-1 and a GIP inhibitor. And, you know, so there's a lot of people that are using them. So there's a lot of supplements companies now coming out saying that they have got bioactive peptides that act like the GLP-1s. And you heard them sort of say that in that clip that I showed of both in Julie Anderson's and in Erin Bies' channel. They keep saying that they act like the GLP-1s. They don't say they are the GLP-1s, but they insinuate that they have the action. Now, the problem is that, yes, the GLP-1 are all as injectables, because trying to keep them bioactive and bioavailable going through your intestines is hard, because the acid in your stomach is there to break down peptides and proteins into the amino acids so you get them absorbed, as is all of the other enzymes, the pancreatic enzymes, your bile and everything. They're all there, part of your intestines, to actually break down the peptides so that you absorb them. And you're obviously not going to put them back together as that hormone in your body, because your body will just use those amino acids up here, there and everywhere. So the only way of getting them in stable is by injecting. Now, semaglutide, which is your Ozempic, is available as an oral tablet. However, we don't recommend the oral tablet at all, because you need, I think the dosage is about, it's about 50 times the amount in the dosage for the oral tablet, because to try and get sufficient in, and it still does not have the evidence. It does not have the data or the evidence. It just isn't absorbed very well orally. We normally say that if you're wanting an anti-diabetic to be used, you use a gliptin, which is the synthetic chemical that acts on the pathway. It was quite funny. What further along in the Zoom that Julie had snuck into, they said that they had made gummies to make it sublingual for absorption. Firstly, gummies aren't sublingual. If you are having a sublingual medication, you've got to leave it to dissolve under your tongue or against the wall of your mouth, and you don't swallow it, because as soon as you're swallowing it, your gastrointestinal tract is going to go along it. You need to leave it in your mouth until it fully absorbs, which there is some medications that happen. Oh, everybody remember to take your meds if you need to take your meds. Keep hydrated. Do all the good stuff. So they were saying that the gummies were created so that they'll be sublingual. Gummies aren't. Now, a lot of the times that they use gummies is because, as you know, collagen you get from like bone broth. Well, it's basically gelatin. So gelatin, before they added sweeteners to gelatin to make funky strawberry flavoured sweet jelly, gelatin is made from bone broth, basically. It's bone broth gone hard. Is collagen. That's what gives it the wobbly nature. That is the collagen protein in there. It causes a matrix holding the water and causes the jelly. That really is sort of showing what the collagen matrix is. Holds all that water in a thing. Oh, hi, Mr. Angel Lab. Yeah, you can catch the replay. I'm not quite sure how much longer I'm going to be. I'm probably not going to be a bit too much longer. All right. Without looking up what an antimicrobial peptide is, but I would assume that it's some sort of peptide that acts on microbes. But that's the thing. These chains of amino acids, there's infinite combinations and infinite amount of things that peptides can do in your body. A lot of your hormone markers are peptides. A lot of your hormones are peptide chains, or where the line is between it being a long peptide chain and an actual protein. An actual protein is more when the chain's actually got that far that it's actually folded itself into a sort of funky structure. Sometimes proteins also have other chemicals in it, so like the insulin protein actually does have chromium and other sort of minerals inside it, sort of your hemoglobin. It's obviously got your iron molecule in that protein that makes the heme. So then you have copper peptides that you can put on the skin, which is copper. So that quite a lot of the peptides then can encroach on having minerals in them to create quite complex structures of proteins. Okay, so I was napping. I had my COVID and flu shot yesterday afternoon and just a little fatigued. Yeah, so that will be your body's immune system learning how to attach those fragments. And again, vaccines are quite often, they're the end proteins off the bacteria or the virus. That's how most vaccines are made, is, although I would say probably your flu, your COVID might be mRNA. So the flu shot. So a lot of traditional vaccines, you used to have you'd get the dead virus or the dead bacteria and show that to your body. So a dead or very, very diluted live one that's been immobilized, and then injecting it so that your body can learn how to attack it. And then they used to learn which part of which proteins on the surface of the virus or the bacteria that your body actually attacks. And then they used to just put those proteins in, so that your body just learned to attack those proteins and didn't need the whole virus and the whole bacteria. And then you no risk of ever having any live vaccine. But now we're using mRNA vaccines, which people always think are dangerous. But basically, they give you the piece of the mRNA, which is the mirror to the DNA, to allow your body to make the protein that you would have injected, so that it can learn how to attack it. It's just a newer way, but it self-destructs after a few hours anyway, after it's made so much of the protein, and it doesn't take over. It's not the virus taking over. Oh, okay. So I'm probably telling you to suck eggs. Sorry. But yeah, it is interesting how vaccines work. No, there is no conspiracy. It's not bio engineering and such like. I always think it's quite funny when they say about GMO crops. We've been genetically modifying crops for millennia. Basically, genetically modifying is when you actually purposely pick the plants or the animals of whose genetics you want to ensure that them genetics are in the next generation, only choosing those that you wanted of that genetics for in the next generation. So we've been genetically modifying dogs for centuries. None of our dogs that we've got nowadays, none of the breeds of dogs that we've got nowadays look anything like wolves. They've all been genetically engineered over decades. They just learn how to do that in a lab quicker. It's still the same thing. There's no, not really any synthetic component to it. There's nothing that's going to get out there in the wild and cause problems. It's just you've managed to just use the bits of the DNA of a plant that you want, or chosen parts of a different plant that you didn't, that's good for one. So I think, which vitamin is there that they've added into rice in certain countries? But is it vitamin C or vitamin D? But one of the vitamins, they've actually added it into the rice so that when the rice actually grows, it also produces that vitamin which it was deficient in. And now people can have that rice, which is their staple, and it actually has the baseline amount of vitamins that they need. It's C vitamin. Yeah. So the rice actually has a higher amount of vitamin C because they've actually now produced it so that it actually automatically makes vitamin C as a high concentration, as per other vegetables already do. So they just picked something out of another vegetable, married it together. I don't have ceremony, but I'm just trying to think. But put the sort of the two parent DNAs together so that vitamin C. Yeah, exactly. We used to have purple carrots. We now have orange carrots because people wanted orange carrots. Yeah, we wouldn't have bananas. Bananas is not something that was all that available. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So no, please go ahead. The mRNAs are new to me. I was mostly into live viruses. Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. So I love vaccines in theory, but my body's reactions are never fun. And that is the thing. Your body's immune response to it, but then you have to think, what is your body's immune response to the real virus? How much worse is that? And is that a balance? Because are you going to be, if you have a bad reaction to the vaccine, does that mean that actually you would have an even worse reaction if you actually had the virus and your body was trying to kill the actual virus and get over it? There is obviously occasions where people can have allergic reactions to vaccines because you are putting in a protein. And as I said, most allergic reactions happen to things that are natural. And that is what you're putting in your body with the natural. It's not the synthetic compounds in vaccines that cause allergic reactions. It's always the natural products that cause allergic reactions. And so people think, oh, you're getting put in with these synthetic problems. The synthetic fillers aren't actually the issue, because if they were, they wouldn't be put in. If it was a synthetic filler causing the problem, they wouldn't put it in. It is actually the proteins. So, okay. Hello, August. I don't think I've seen you on before. Well, welcome to my channel. My mother-in-law sleeps the day away after she gets the flu and COVID shot together. My wife and I got our flu shot, and the next week we're getting our COVID vaccines. That way we don't sleep too much. Yeah. And sometimes it is, if you know your body's going to struggle with something, put that day away so that you can actually rest. Don't push through it and cause your body to totally collapse. Make sure you're fully hydrated. Make sure you've got your nutrition. Make sure you've got the time and space. Sleep is always the best thing for your body. Getting your good old 8 hours sleep is very beneficial. I follow the sleep doc on Instagram. He's really funny. He does tell you to put your phone away a lot. Possibly golden rice. I have no idea. I wouldn't know. Right. So life didn't make lemons. We did. That has provitamin A in it. Okay, excellent. Yes, I would probably explain an orangey golden colour of vitamin A. Yeah, absolutely. I take everything I need and just look forward to it and taking a day off after. Excellent. I know I always book my jabs for having it on a Friday so that I can have it. So thing. Yeah, so as Mr. Ranger, I picked a Saturday so that I could sleep and lay around the next day. Yes, but I much prefer that than having COVID. So I had COVID and then ended up being folic acid deficient. I did some research on that, and a lot of people following COVID ended up being vitamin D and vitamin D deficient and folic acid deficient, because by fighting off the infection, you deplete your stores and then need to put them in. So I had to have 3 months of folic acid, and then I think I had COVID again and it went down again. So now I just take folic acid all the time. I do try and increase my fruit and vegetables, which have, the high greens that are the high folic acid, but just try and keep that up. So excellent. Where did I get to? Right. So I think I've covered a lot to do with peptides, collagen, protein, and creatine. Protein supplements and protein drinks. Well, that's all dependent on your diet. So have a look at your diet. And if you're not getting enough protein and you are specifically trying to build muscle, then you could do with making sure you have enough protein. There's a lot of arguments out there of exactly how much, but I think they say 0.7 to 1 gram per kilogram of ideal body weight, not actual body weight, because for those people that are like 400 pounds and are trying to lose weight, that would be impossible. But it is worth having enough protein when you are actually trying to build muscle to actually make sure that there's enough in there. Now, having collagen supplements to build muscle doesn't work. It doesn't have all the essential amino acids for building muscle. You are best going for, so some of the pre-workouts do actually have certain of the essential amino acids that you need. You'd get the BACCs. You get them all in the health food shop, the essential amino acids and the amino acids that are sort of for muscle building. Now, if you can get it in your diet, that it is the best way. There was historically a lot of arguments out there that you can't get as much protein in a vegan and vegetarian diet to what you can through animal products. That has been debunked. Now, any one vegetarian source, vegan source, plant-based source, won't get you all your essential amino acids in one go. But who only eats one vegetable all the time? So you can actually get them if you mix and match your vegetables and grains and beans. You will actually get all your essential amino acids. And if you have them in equivalent quantities, gram for gram, there is no difference on whether you're purely carnivore, omnivore, or vegan. So, right. Yeah, so Coconut says, I got COVID the month it hit the US, probably because I worked in the dispensary closest to the airport. Ooh, yeah. Definitely, Mr. Angel Lab says, definitely prefer tiredness than actually getting the disease. Yeah. August says, yeah, I caught COVID once before they came out with the vaccine. I was a teacher at the time. It was inevitable, but I don't want it again. I slept for days. No bad effects though, thank goodness. Yeah, well, I ended up low on my folic acid. Now, I did have another virus or bacteria that caused a cough that has left me with adult onset asthma. But I don't think it was COVID. It said it was negative, but it could have been. Okay, Mr. Angelab says, I was one of the last in my circle to get COVID, January 23. Okay, so you managed for 3 years to stay it off, but it is inevitable with all viruses. Although, touch wood, I try and keep well clear of that norovirus because that's the one that scares me the most. Yeah, so protein, yeah. If you can get it in your diet, that's the better. If you want to take an extra protein supplement, if you are actually working out, but I've done quite a lot of research into the use of so for females going postmenopausal, one of the highest risks and problems is losing muscle mass. And if you lose muscle mass, you lose bone density. And if you lose bone density, then you're at a higher risk of falls. And then if you have a fall and a hip fracture, then you're at a higher risk of a death. So one of the best things that you can do to help reduce fragility and problems postmenopausal is to keep muscle mass. And so that's why I've been doing a lot of work over the last year at trying to maintain my muscle mass. It also helps with my elastane loss if I can actually strengthen the muscles to try and hold the joints into place. Also, by increasing my muscle mass, increases your basal metabolic rate to help you lose weight. So I've been doing quite a lot of work, doing some weight training, making sure I've got enough protein in my diet to build that muscle. And just looking at my stats this month, so from last year to this year, I have lost 15 pounds. And since starting going to the gym in March, I can now double the amount that I can do on most of the weight machines. And for the first time this week, I did an assisted pull-up. Now, it was very assisted. I did need to have a lot of assistance on the pad to do the assisted pull-up, but I did do an assisted pull-up, and I did do a Romanian deadlift. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is you see everybody doing a Romanian deadlift with the bar. Well, I did the Romanian leg deadlift with just the bar, but what people don't tell you is the bar that you do the Romanian deadlift with, the actual bar weighs 20 kilograms before you even put any weights on the side. So I'm doing it with just the bar and the 20 kilos. But I built my way up doing that. So that's why I did a lot of research into the protein. I follow quite a lot of creators, personal trainers, nutritionalists and doctors on Instagram. And then I go back and actually look at the research that they're showing. There's also a lot of crazy misinformation out there. And then that's why I did some work into looking at creatine. Now, creatine is something that you hold in your muscles, and it helps with the glucagon storage in your muscles and how effective that your muscles are. So I did some research into whether using a creatine supplement actually makes any difference. And there is quite a lot of data out there. In fact, it's one of the most studied supplements for sort of weight training and such like. So I'm just going to share a couple of the studies. Okay, so stop screen, right? Present, share screen. Which one? So there's a creatine supplement for muscle growth. I need to make sure that I get back to that one. Which was done for over 10 years, and there's quite a lot of things. So it's being used for quite a lot of athletes. And it does show that the related to muscle growth, more effective, but it is more effective in healthy young adults. So the older you get, the less effective it is, as is being able to build muscle is more effective as you're younger than if you're older. You've got to be training. If you're not actually training your muscles, there's pretty much no point to actually taking the creatine supplement in muscle growth. So there's quite a lot of information there. I will put these links. Oh, okay. So Mr. Ranger Lab say you got COVID this year. Oh, so you managed to hold it off for 4 years. And Lisa says she finally got COVID in February 24, even though you had the booster. Unfortunately, I think that was February 24 was when that new strain came out. That and although the previous boosters that you had would have provided a certain level of protection, there was enough variance on it to actually sort of get through. Oh yeah, hermit life. I'm all for the hermit life. I wouldn't leave the house if I didn't have to. But people want me to be sociable. Work wants me to go in. I have to go out and go shopping, you know. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing that one. But then the other interesting thing was doing some more research on creatine. And yes, it's very useful for the muscle growth and everything. But there does seem to be some extra benefits. So the effectiveness of creatine supplementation on aging muscle and bones, focus on falls prevention and inflammation. So there is a growing amount of evidence that the sort of sarcopenia, which is age-related decrease in muscle mass, strength and physical proportion, which also then leads on to reduce bone mass. And they found that actually using creatine alongside some resistance training and strength training can actually help increase muscle mass and strength and prevent the reduction in bone mass and improve inflammation markers. And then couldn't find it on hand earlier, but I did find it a few weeks ago. There is also some information that creatine that creatine actually can help with cognitive function and help in the prevention of cognitive decline as well. So there seems to be some more evidence that creatine is actually a fairly useful supplement. And yes, creatine you can get in your diet. Creatine does come alongside eating muscle, so eating meat. But it can be difficult to get it in sufficient quantities in your diet unless you want to go for the carnivore diet. But I don't quite recommend the carnivore diet, because then you don't get, although you get enough protein in your diet, you're not getting enough of your fiber and your carbohydrates, your healthy fats, because a lot of your healthy fats are either from fish or from vegetables and nuts and seeds. And I would recommend that you would have more of an omnivore diet, making sure that you've got that fiber. Also, obviously, all your fruit and vegetables come with all your vitamins and your micronutrients and your phytochemicals and all the antioxidants and such like. So you could get enough creatine by having a carnivore diet, but that's not the healthiest overall. So it's all about balance. But yeah, so I have actually started taking creatine. Now, there is no need to take anything really fancy, so I just pick up things from Holland and Barrett. So I bought a pre-workout that was on offer that has the creatine. It also has a few of the essential amino acids in it, but it does have caffeine. So I was finding that when I wanted to go in an evening, that wasn't very good because it kept me awake. So you can just buy tubs of creatine monohydrate, and then you just put a little scoop into whatever you're drinking. You don't have to buy fancy MLM products. You don't have to fancy expensive products. What was I going to say? Also, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who say that you've got to have a pre-workout. You've got to have it at a certain time of the day or night. As long as it's in your system during the day, as long as your protein is in your system during the 24 hours while you're working out, and as long as the creatine is in your system for the 24 hours that you're working out, you don't actually have to take it at that time, because while you're working out, you're not actually absorbing things in your stomach anyway. And the whole building up and repairing and strengthening of your muscles happens over the next sort of 24, 48 hours after you do a workout, which is why when you do workouts, you should do different things on different days and have rest days. So you shouldn't be going and pumping your arms every single day, because you're not giving your time for your muscles to rest and repair. I'm no expert. I'm no personal trainer. This is just what I've learned, and with obviously my pharmacist knowledge in the background around that. So I've still got 14 people online. Everybody's gone quiet in the chat. So I'm hoping that I've explained things around sort of peptides, collagen, protein, creatine. Has anybody got any extra questions? Before I go, you can come on. We have a kitten again. Come on, dear. We have a periwinkle. What do you think? Yeah, you're not that bothered. Yes, I do think that YouTube and the internet is a wonderful thing. It has allowed me to be the hermit I am. You know, when I was at school and everybody, you know, most people would tell me to shut up, and here I am now with YouTube, I can info dump on my favorite subjects and actually have a whole load of people that are willing to listen to me, which nobody ever was at school. I was just bullied for, you know, not knowing how to socialize properly. But here we are on YouTube, and it's okay to not know how to socialize properly, just want to info dump and sit and hide with other people that want to sit and hide. Okay. So yeah, so hermiting, yes, kitten. This is Periwinkle. She's the crazy one, aren't you? You're the one that chases your tail. You're the one that tries climbing up the curtains, whereas Poppy is the escape artist that keeps trying to get out the front and the back door. Okay, and Neil Keater says, I'm crocheting as well as listening to Agoraphobia Pride. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I did try crocheting, but my fingers, I'm not very good with my fingers at doing anything that requires intricate things. My fingers bend back. I do have some of those silver rings and plastic rings to try and stop them, but then I just can't seem to do things. Although I am better at crocheting than knitting, because my knitting was always holy. At least crocheting is supposed to have holes in it. So I do love watching people do crocheting, but yeah, I need something that's a bit bigger when I do my crafting. Although I have seen that some people have some nice thick crocheting needles to use, which could be good. Oh, hello. THAF Lip 101. When taking protein powders, should we cycle on and off, like 3 months on and 1 month off? I guess it depends on what your goals are. Have a look at what your diet is, where protein's lacking in your diet. Look at a protein powder that's going to provide you with your needs, whether you want a dairy one, a vegan one. There is some people who say that you sort of, as you should bulk for a certain amount of time with your protein and with your weight training, and then have some time off and then slim back down again. But I would say just track yourself. Obviously, you don't want to be gaining too much weight if you're bulking. Although if you get to a BMI of 35 and you are pure muscle and no fat, then actually you're still healthy. So it's just a matter of tracking your protein powder along with all your actual macros, your actual weight, and your actual goals. So I would just take it like that. So yeah, as long as you're not gaining too much weight and you're thinking that it's fat, then you could probably carry on taking it. But I would say I'm not the best person to provide nutritional advice. I would say it's always best to run that by by a registered dietitian. But I shouldn't really say nutritional. By a registered dietitian would be able to say, or your personal trainer, who would be able to see what your actual muscle gains and growth is. Yes, Karina is awesome at crocheting. I do watch her crocheting, and I do love her little things that she makes. Although I'm not quite sure whether she actually sends them over to the UK. Mr. Angel said, I've just pulled out of my WIP crochet project. I have no idea what that acronym stands for. Now, I was going to say there's a lot of talk about creatine and protein when it comes to renal function. Now, creatine itself doesn't affect renal function. However, creatine, when it is in your body, does have the breakdown product of creatinine. There's an extra ion in there, creatinine. And they measure your creatinine levels as a precursor marker of your renal function. So when you have your UNEs done by the labs, by the doctors, you usually have your sodium, your potassium, your urea, and your creatinine. And if your creatinine level is high, then it indicates that there might be renal impairment. And then they do a whole calculation based on to work out your EGFR, which on your weight, age, sex, and everything, and they do a calculation to see what your renal function is. So if you've got a high creatinine level, then it can indicate renal failure. However, if you've been actually taking in extra creatine to normal, or even if you just have a very high meat diet, then you can have elevated creatinine levels without actually your renal function being reduced. It's just that you've just got more circulating. Also, if you are currently going through any sort of illness where there's a sudden breakdown in your muscle mass, that can release extra creatinine into your bloodstream and give a false level. So if you are taking creatinine supplements or taking a very high amount of protein, especially of animal source, then it is worth letting your doctors know if you've had any bloods taken, because you could have a false reading and you might need to have some time without them so that you're not getting that false reading. But it is a false reading. There is no problem with your creatine affecting your kidneys. Yeah. So then you've wrote that I've heard of men taking too much protein can cause kidney failures with cycling on and off. Right. So in a healthy person, having a lot of protein, yes, it does. It will affect your kidneys, and your kidneys will be taking off extra protein. However, if somebody with healthy kidneys taking a large amount of protein won't cause any problems to your kidneys. However, if you have kidney problems, if you are going into kidney impairment and you take a lot of protein, then you can have problems with how your body is metabolizing the protein and handling the protein. And so with people with moderate to severe renal impairment, they have to lower their protein amounts. But it's not that the protein causes kidney damage. It's that if you've got kidney damage, you can't cope with a lot of protein. So I think there was quite a lot of misinformation. I think there was a bloke that was laid in a hospital bed with kidney failure, trying to make out that it was because he had protein, and it wasn't. It was the fact that he had kidney failure, and because he was taking a whole load of protein, it was making things worse. So there is a bit of a problem with that, but it's not the way around that people think. Now, one of the doctors on Instagram did quite good information about it. I can't remember his name. Let me see if I can find him. He's usually along the never there when you want them, are they? Dr. Karan Rajan is a gastroenterologist, and he's quite good. So Karan Rajan. He's quite good. I don't know if you can see, but you've probably seen him around. He did a good whole thing about debunking that the protein doesn't cause kidney damage, but if you have kidney damage, you do have to lower your protein amounts. So Tanya says, speaking of kidneys, my friend who was on the transplant list not only got a new kidney, she also got a new pancreas, so she's no longer requiring insulin. She was type 1 diabetic. Yes, now this is something that I've always thought is a bit weird. They never ever do a pancreas transplant, even though pancreas transplants are possible. I think because of the amount of people, the amount of type 1 diabetics that there are who potentially need a new pancreas, there just isn't enough people. There isn't just enough new pancreases around to supply the amount of people with type 1 diabetics, and it'd be pretty much impossible to provide that amount of pancreases, plus the fact that you'll just be replaced. Instead of being on insulin for life, you would actually be on anti-rejection therapy for the rest of your life. And anti-rejection therapy has major complications with it, being immunosuppressed the whole time. However, if you are type 1 diabetic and your pancreas doesn't work and you need any other transplant for any other reason, and you're going to need to have immunosuppressants for life, then they'll do the pancreas at the same time from that person. So if you're gonna get replacement kidneys or a replacement liver or a replacement heart from somebody and you've got type 1 diabetes, they do replace the pancreas at the same time, because you're going to have to be on the immunosuppressants anyway, and they just take the pancreas along. So that is quite interesting, the fact that so it's not done for diabetics, because the treatment with having testing your sugars and insulin is very very effective, and the risks of immunosuppressant for life is only worth it. The risks of having the immunosuppressants for life is only worth it if you're also replacing some other organs at the same time, plus the amount of people on how would you choose which type 1 diabetics would get the very, very limited amount of pancreases that are around. But yeah, I don't think it ever gets advertised too much. Yeah. I went to the gym earlier on. So head to the gym now. That's great. I've been on for nearly 2 hours, so I am going to wrap this up. I think I've covered most things: peptides, collagen, protein, creatine, kittens, vaccines. So thank you all for coming along. If you can all make sure that you have like the stream. Well, I've got 12 people on and I've got 17 likes. So obviously some people have popped on and liked and jumped back off again. So that's even better. And yeah, if you can, once this is finished, if you've got any other comments, once the live stream gets saved, if you can ask those questions and put comments on there, then that will also help YouTube spread my information far and wide. And I really, and I say this at the end of every video, really need to get around to doing some proper form videos of information, because it's been a long time since I did that last one on PPIs, and I've got a whole long list of things to do. It's just getting time. Obviously last weekend I had to delay because I had an interview this week. So I had my interview on Thursday. Don't know the results of them. I don't know whether I waffled too much, as you can tell. I have a lot of information to give. Whether I gave it in the correct way and didn't waffle too much, I don't know. I just hope I did. So thank you, everybody. Nice to meet some new people on here. August, THAF Lip. Yeah, so nice to have you all on, and all the usual suspects: Nelkita, Mr. Ranger Lab, Tanya, Marie. Yeah, great to see you all. I don't know whether my mum and dad are still on, but I will keep you all updated on the community channel on what I'm doing. I might do some photos of my tattoos that I've got asked at the beginning. And see you all again soon. Bye.